Oh, it went square.
Yeah.
You did it last week, the screen was reversed.
Yep. And make sure that it's there's a red box that has the 1, 2, the seconds 1, 2, 3.
I see a. You mean a rectangle box?
Yeah.
It's at the top.
Does it have seconds counting up?
Yeah, you're 27 seconds in.
Okay. Yay.
I'll have to edit that. Or, no, that's live, wouldn't it?
That's live. Can't
Oh,
edit
they heard
live.
me.
Are we live?
We're live
We're live
I didn't know that.
from Coldwater, Alabama.
from Coldwater, Alabama. That's right. We're joined with Don Haywood, Don Elliott, who is finally made it back with us. Don't know.
Never know, day by day.
Never know.
And of course, we got the professor, our official button presser. Congratulations, David.
I got it right the first time.
Yeah.
Yay.
This is going to be your reward. A quarter. Here you go, David.
I'll tell you what, you keep it.
Me keep it?
He's
Yeah,
gonna donate that back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I got quarters laying in the truck out there.
Yeah, really.
Is this your tithe?
No, I got more than that.
Oh, again, can you see both of us?
Yeah, I saw both of them.
Good.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, good.
All right.
Well, Don, do you have anything to say before we get started?
Just ready to go. Let's get it done.
All right, we are talking about the Flowable Glud. That's a shout out to you, David. No,
Not of my language.
for real though. We're going to be in 417.
David, I find you to be a good friend.
Oh,
I
why?
just want you to know that.
Why is that?
Because a good friend helps you when you fall down. A best friend trips you again and laughs. I
Oh.
want you to know that.
So, questions. What made the oceans fill in? Why do we have a continental shelf? Well, the continental shelf is very in-string. Anybody?
It's all science to me.
It's all science to you, okay. So in part 2, we're going over the flood, the ice age, continental shelves, the crayon and mountain formations.
Back up. You pulled one man, buddy.
What I do?
What
No!
What did he say? What did he say?
Continental.
That word right
shelf
there.
And the coloring.
After
crayon
continental
and mountain
drift, what did he
formation.
say? What did he say that word was?
Crayon.
Crayon.
Canyon, baby.
No. I pulled a David Tillison there.
You're gonna have to stay away from me.
No, it's good. It makes for good comedy. And anyway, the Bible says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth."
I got to tell Margaret.
You do. You have to show it. So in the in their seminar notebook, you get this little graph, which we have one somewhere around here, but it's anyway. Like we mentioned before, after the flood, the ages start going down, and now we don't get to 80 or 90.
I think somewhere it says we're entitled to 70 years. If we take care of ourselves, we can live longer.
Yeah. Our
We
ideas.
should have known that 20 years ago or 40 years ago.
Yeah. During the last few months of the flood, the unstable plates of the fractured earth were shifted. The thin spots sank down to become ocean basins. Other places filled up to make mountains. The runoff caused huge erosion canyons. So, according to this theory, you got, well, let's break it down. You got the continental plates are shifting, which makes them unstable, right?
We have earthquakes.
That's why we have earthquakes like the San Andreas Fault, the New Hayward Fault.
They're still unstable.
None of them were my fault, but they're there, right? The thin spots sank down to become ocean basins. Okay? Follow me now. Other places lifted up to make the mountains. The runoff caused huge erosion canyons. If we were to smooth all planet Earth,
Bulldoze it down.
it would, yeah, bulldoze it down.
Make it smooth.
But we would be covered in water 1 mile deep,
Okay.
which is an end string, which I'm sure we'll cover that here in a minute. The Earth is almost perfectly smooth for its size, and this is our theory, pretty much. His theory, anyway. The 5 mile Mount Everest on an 8,000 mile Earth, and its insignificant 0.0625% bump, Q balls have bigger bumps than that. Isn't that interesting? At the distance, you can't even find Mount Everest or the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, I can't see them where I'm at.
You can't see them from space either.
It's a funny thing that when we see things from our perspective, I've been to the Rockies. I hope everybody here's seen them.
Yeah.
You see this mountain chain, and you're like, wow. And that's an insignificant blip. It's your perspective. If you were 1,000 feet tall, you'd be looking at it like, and?
Anthill.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I think that we as humans can't seem to figure that part out. I sit around and with Jonah at the swimming pool this morning. He saw the ant, and he saw a little baby spider. And he was like, look how tall. He said, I bet you we look like Godzilla to them. Perspective. We're no bigger than we were until we look at the perspective of the little ant that looks at us like we're huge monsters.
Yeah.
It's huge giants. We look at giants, Goliath, in the stories of the Bible, and that was a giant compared to what?
It only took being 2 foot shorter than him to call him a giant.
Yeah.
You know, but it's all in perspective, and we got to keep life in perspective a little bit.
True. Anything, David?
Oh,
So,
I second that motion.
yeah. So if you look at this graph right here, you got precipitation and some clouds over here, which we conclude that before the flood there were there's water under the crust of the earth, and it broke up like it says in Genesis, which caused the flood, which we already covered that. And it would, if you get this graph, the water would fill in all these things, and it would run off. And as the flood is finishing its course, the runoff point will form our beaches. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's all on erosion. Minneapolis is only 670 feet higher than New Orleans, which is in string. So there's kind of for scale, Minneapolis to New Orleans. Go ahead.
Well, just, we look at the insanity of building a city of New Orleans below sea level,
Insanity, yes.
Yeah.
and yet it has stood for hundreds of years. Minneapolis, like I said, it's only 670 feet higher because it's right on the river.
That's right.
has a tremendously different, 1,150 miles from New Orleans.
Yep.
And that still ain't far enough.
Yep. But long way. Long way. So a 670-foot drop in, well, where'd it go?
Yeah.
Come on.
7 inches of drop per mile.
Yep. Now isn't that in stream?
And you can't tell the difference.
Can't tell the difference. If a dam were to build across the Canyon, that would take a lot of dirt, by the way.
Yeah,
A large lake would form.
absolutely. And a large lake was there before the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Colorado Basin.
Right.
Huge. Well, basically one of the biggest lakes in the world.
But this textbook
Okay,
says over millions of years, the Colorado River has carved the Grand Canyon from solid rock.
But archaeology proves that cannot possibly be true. It did not carve it because it can't carve through the layers. The layers were laid down. It didn't
Right.
carve it. Those layers of rock are sediments. You can see the different sediment layers.
Yeah, you can
Those
see
were
it.
laid
You can
down
see it
in the
right there.
hours. Hour after hour
Yep.
during the flood time as sediment huge dropped 8-10 feet of sediment at a time.
Yep.
Piled on top of each other, became rock. Very brittle rock, by the way.
They say the Grand Canyon's a great place to at least see once. I've never been. Would love to go someday, but you know, it's just pictures of it. Just makes me want to pack up my bags and go now. You know,
They're
but
saying it from 10,000 feet.
it's all erosion. Here's an interesting picture. Looping, meandering rivers are typical of old age and low slope.
According to Holt.
Yeah, old science. Yep. So steep sides. So if you understand what they're trying to tell us, that the characteristics of young rivers or high slopes.
Yeah, because supposedly it's running very, very fast.
Yeah.
And so it's going to cut through stuff very quickly. Be a nice straight, pretty much straight line.
You weren't here last week, so I'll repeat what I said last week. That someone said that every time it rains out of the Grand Canyon, the rain cuts the rock, and it's still getting deeper, just due to the rain.
Who said such a thing?
But it's true.
I think he's talking about the sides, where the water runs down the sides.
Yep.
It causes erosion. I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Factors that influence the path of water will flow. Donald, why don't you read that for us, buddy?
The slope of the ground, the speed of the water, change in water volume, abrasive material in the water, hardness of the soil or rock, and the composition of soil or rock.
Anything on that?
I understand that. I understand what the science books are telling the students.
Right. So what they're saying is essentially that all these sediments are different rock layers of different age, like the Jurassic era, Triassic, Cretaceous, but could it be that it's all due from the flood?
Absolutely.
Or if we're taking David's idea for the flowable flood, there you go.
Yeah, you like that.
God could have, was playing in the sand one day and just decided to, kind of scoop it up, if we want to go from the partial flood idea,
Yeah.
But,
Well, partial flood, the other Western Hemisphere wasn't even touched.
yeah. one catastrophe like the 1964 earthquake in Alaska, shown here, can change the real estate in a hurry, which is very
Yeah.
true.
Is that the one where the street sunk down in the,
Yeah,
Is
I
it
remember
now?
seeing a picture in
Yeah.
the newspaper about that one.
Yep. And it's all just very cool. Now, Mount St. Helens. This has always interested me. Mount St. Helens blew up.
yep.
And doesn't the story go that it was an extinct volcano?
They thought it was extinct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which they,
I think they call them all extinct things smoking.
None of them are extinct.
right.
No, there's something going on down there.
So, Mount St. Helens in Washington, USA. The North Slope slid
About
down the mountain.
volcano chasers.
Yeah. While the North Slope slid down the mountain, the volcano was uncorked, releasing the ash and steam. So that's what a sight to behold. You'd be cooked.
And how much
sure.
material, does it say how much material was laid down on the earth? Because it changed the entire geography.
It did.
That
Where'd
car,
you
you
get-
can tell it right there.
Yeah, what you can see in all of these pictures. You know, here you got the volcano,
All the trees and stuff at the bottom.
and then here's a rendition
Explosion.
of it exploding, and
But
there's
the aftermath.
and there's the result. There's the aftermath.
Well, the aftermath was that for over 1,000 miles away, and you can see it there,
It is, yeah.
there was more than 600 feet of material laid down on what used to be valleys, which are now mountains or hillsides.
Yeah,
You cannot, if you lived there before, if you've been there every day, you would not recognize any of the territory, any of the area. Maps had to be redrawn
Yeah.
because there were roads and there were major geographic points that were now 500 to 600 feet
Yep.
underground. So looking at geography today, looking at the Grand Canyon today, has absolutely no impact at all, no relationship to what it looked like 1,000 years ago. None.
yeah. But according to this chart, Mount St. Helens is actually a smaller
Yeah. Tiny little thing.
volcano on the volcano scale. You got Vesuvius, Kakarota, Temboria, and Temboria is the biggest one, obviously, and the results are frightening.
Yeah.
You don't want to be nowhere near a volcano. Like, how can you live in Hawaii with an active volcano?
Everywhere we're sitting right now is an active volcano. Where we are today in Alabama, north central Alabama,
There's
is
a fault
a
line
result
coming
of volcanic activity that created these hills and these mountains and all this stuff.
through. Put all that iron in them mountains that Anniston was formed before.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Donald.
Mount St. Helens blew out enough material for everyone on Earth to have a ton. It would fill a 10 cubic yard dump truck every second, 24 hours a day for 600 years.
So the hot mud flowed covered blocks of ice that had been blown off the mountain. Crazy. You know, Mount St. Helens was something that was, you know, you would have to think that was kind of like a weird
Yeah.
unusual.
23 square
Mhm.
miles, a valley was completely filled in.
Mhm.
It changed. There was a valley, now there's a hill.
But get this, river system. A river was formed
Yeah.
in 9 hours. That's all it takes. 9 hours for
A major river.
a major river, and if you were to dam it, it would dry up, and it would be like a little canyon.
And that's what you need to see, because I've also watched the video and the research at the Tuttle Canyon, and the canyon walls look exactly like the Grand Canyon. They're layered because in those few days, feet after feet after feet of sediment laid on top of each other and created a solid rock canyon
Yeah,
that looks just like the Grand Canyon.
that's true. Like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in thousands or millions of years,
Yep.
in hours. And it happens, and it happens, and it happens all over again.
Yep. There's like a new canyon formed in a few hours. What did you just say? A few hours by rapid water. You see, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
1,000 feet wide, 140 feet deep. Once water starts to go over a dam, the erosion rate increases quickly. You should see that,
Yeah.
and that's a result. Which that's just pretty neat.
All that material that's being laid down is soft.
Yep.
It came from the volcano, blew out, mud and stuff came down. It can cut a canyon through that. Just like if you laid a water spigot or water hose down out here in your yard and forgot to turn it off, and you wake up in the morning, you've got a trench and you've got a big mess out there. Duh, same thing, different scale.
True. Canyon in Yellowstone National Park. We'll kind of whiz through these because there's something I want to get to in part 2. Part of the Little Grand Canyon in Lumpkin, Georgia. Let's see, yeah. The Teom-Sauk Reservoir in west of St. Louis failed December 2005. It's at 1.5 billion gallons down the mountain in just 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Erosion.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Look what it cut.
And it's all that, yeah. And look what it cut.
It's amazing.
It's mind blowing.
The power of nature, especially when man messes with it,
Oh yeah.
it's frightening. You nobody survives that.
No.
If you've ever been around where a real tsunami comes in, buildings that are supposedly earthquake proof float out into the ocean,
Yes.
not broken up, just the whole building just gone because the entire foundation comes out from under.
Right. But what they're saying is it takes millions and billions of years for the layers, like what we see in
Yeah.
in this
Takes-
picture.
Takes hours
In this
to
picture.
days.
Thousands of layers formed in a few minutes as the mud formed in Mount St. Helens. The new Grand Canyon formed in a few hours. Rapid water flow near Mount St. Helens.
Imagine the shock of the people if a large volcano erupted.
Yeah.
And what if an entire country like Japan disappeared
Yeah.
in a matter of an hour?
Or China. We can get that lucky.
Or
vote.
China?
I know a whole city that did.
Yeah, Pompeii.
Mhm.
Mhm. That was tiny because that was a small city. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a couple 10,000 people. you know, think about it, you know, those are small towns. What if Japan disappeared, the entire country?
Yeah.
It's right there on the phone.
It could. It is. It is a volcano. What if Hawaii, all the islands, if there was a major eruption, which are all volcanic islands, then Hawaii disappears.
Yep.
How many people are there?
Well, it's
wow.
Krakatoa completely disappeared.
The ocean would be full of swimming people.
Yeah. But the point is, this little river did not make this canyon. It did not make this canyon either.
That's right. I was taught back in, how long ago was that, Don? In elementary school in 3rd grade, let's see, that was probably about 55 years ago
Yep.
or so. And I believe that the Colorado River cut through and created the Grand Canyon. But even back then, my science teachers were telling us that those layers, the way they're laid out like that, that could not have happened.
Yep.
Didn't know what did happen, but it could not be. But that's what we had to teach. That's what they had. That's the information they had. We are ignorant people. Human
Willingly
beings are.
ignorant.
We may be the
Really?
smartest people on this, the smartest or species on this planet, and yet our wisdom and our knowledge is so minuscule to the creation.
So you're getting into the unknown when you talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, virtually everything is unknown to us.
Yeah.
What we know is not the tip of a head of a pin.
Of course, they said we only use 10% of our brain anyway.
True.
But what we know, what's been written, what information we have to work with, as far as the knowledge that exists,
Yep.
but
Yep.
we don't have it, would it'd be like the tip of a pin.
You'd have to be there to see it, to know
To
it
the
really
planet.
happened.
Yeah.
And nobody was there to see it, to know
That's
what
the
really happened.
confusion too, because today everything's at our fingertip. We can look up anything on there, and whatever you look up, you'll have 5 or 6 different views of
Yes.
it. So,
Yes.
what do you know? What do you believe? What,
Yeah.
we don't know. We wasn't there.
That's true. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
in the next session. But that's a good point. The Colorado, this textbook says again, here we go with textbooks, lies in the textbooks, Don.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado River has cut through layer upon layer of rock for millions of years. And the point of all these pictures is pretty much real time. You know,
Yeah, that's ours.
hours. Yep.
And scientists would look at that and say, oh my gosh, that must have taken 1,000,000 years for all that to happen.
Yep. Now check these pictures out. Do y'all know what these pictures are?
That's toothpicks.
Yeah. What that looks like.
Yeah. Right.
Keep showing
What is that, David?
Slide.
That's trees.
That's trees.
These are trees that, in the event of Mount St. Helens,
That's what I thought. Yeah, I've seen that.
would
TV.
they covered, and let's get to where logs floating in Spirit Lake. Spirit Lake is full of
Trees.
trees standing up,
Because it used to be,
petrified.
dry land.
Yeah, true. Yep, there's a picture I was looking for. Scientists estimate that there are 20,000 trees in the bottom of Spirit Lake. Many of them are buried upright, and some are already 15 feet deep in sediments. They seem to settle out by species, giving the appearance of the complete forest.
Or they are a complete forest that was completely covered with sediment, or partially covered with sediment to about 15 feet, and then filled with water.
True. Some polystrate trees, which are essentially fossilized trees, are upside down, extending through many layers, including layers of coal.
Yep. It's amazing.
That's
Yep.
what makes coal though.
That's right. Very interesting.
Something Mr. Biden don't want us to have anymore.
Yeah. Spirit Lake. Here's a textbook that shows the some trees that were buried in ash. Where's instream? Standing petrified trees found in Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. And we can talk all day about petrification, and we will end this session there. And we'll be talking about some more in-string stuff in the next session.